Hi, I'm Suz Clark with the Ship Network, and I'm here with Penelope Smith, the pioneering grandmother of interspecies telepathic communication. And she is about to demonstrate how she connects with animals that have passed over the Rainbow Bridge. And this is near and dear to my heart because just 2 weeks ago, we lost our sweet Lucy, a nearly 16-year-old Boston Terrier that we have loved dearly since she was just 6 weeks old. Penelope and I have worked together in the past, but not since this happened, and she didn't know of and had never met Lucy. So, while Penelope's course does not include one-on-one sessions, this video will provide insight into how you too can communicate with your beloved animal companions that have passed over. And with that, take it away, Penelope.
Thank you, Suz. So the first thing when we start with a consultation about an animal friend is just tell me who it is we're going to be talking to. And you can tell me anything about the passing that you wish. And I'll let you know when Lucy has come in, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'm going to show you a picture of Lucy. She's asleep on her heating pad there. This is probably taken within about 6 months of when we decided that we were probably keeping her alive longer than maybe what we should have been doing. You know, she was the bravest girl in the world. We have two other dogs who are also just sweethearts, but Lucy was the matriarch, and she's blind and deaf. But she would go out, she'd go through the doggy door, raining, storming, wind. She'd be out there, her ears flying, but she was a remarkable, lovely girl. And I miss her dearly. It's only been 2 weeks. And yeah, so we decided one day when I picked her up, she kept having stability issues, and one day I picked her up and we would always, just hold her and walk around and do whatever. And yeah, she just laid her head on my shoulder, and she didn't, because generally she'd be like, okay, I'm down. I want down now. So we decided at that point, when she just did that, we made certain we gave her her favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs. She could eat anything. Everybody else has like a sensitive constitution, but Lucy could eat. We'd give her eggs and steak and this and bacon and whatever, and she just loved it. So we gave her her last meal, and there you go.
Okay, thank you, Suz. And Lucy came in right from the start. So I'm going to start with first anything that she wants to say, and you can ask any question that you wish of her, anything about her passing, anything about her life, anything that you wish to know. But first, I want to, she's been coming in ever since you mentioned us doing this session, and I said, Lucy, we're going to have to wait because I don't want to forget anything, so, or have you repeat it. So she's very in touch. So let me just convey what she wants to communicate to you. She says right away, she's just very uplifted. Her whole space is very beautiful, just full of light. And it's such a deep, expansive love. She says, my life was so good. I had so much fun. I come from a background, and she's talking about her past lives. She just wants to convey this. She says, where things were very serious for me. I worked hard to help people. She shows me lifetimes as a dog, but also lifetimes as a human being. She says, I worked very hard to help people. I always was very concerned about them. And this lifetime, I decided, well, yeah, I'll continue on with my mission to help people, but I want to have fun. I want to really enjoy my body and have fun. And I'm going to choose people that I'm very close to. She shows me her whole soul family, which is huge. She has lots of beings around her, but she says, I'm choosing the family that I know I can have a lot of fun with that. We've had fun before, but I don't want to lead such a serious life. I want to learn how to play more. And so she shows me that in her life, she got to play a whole lot. And you mentioned her being the matriarch. She says, well, of course. She says, I always get my own way. I mean, that was a given. That was a given. That was understood. She says, but she says, the thing I really enjoyed about my connection with Suz and other members of the family, including the canine members, she says, is that they always understood. They always got it. They got exactly what I communicated. I never felt left out by the humans. She always felt like you had a very deep understanding. She considers you very telepathic, very easily telepathic. And she says, we just had fun. She says, Suz, and my person is a person who really understands fun and being playful. And she says, I got to be really playful. I got to love deeply. I got to do what I'm meant to do on earth, which is to help people. She says, to help others around me. When she says people, she includes all beings around her. She says, but I got my way and I got to have fun. And what was more important? She says, I feel like I lightened up this lifetime. I got to lighten up. And she also says that at the end, she communicated to you. She had been communicating to you for a while, but it was definitely hard for you to hear this. But she said she was hurting. Her body was hurting. And she said, you got it, but she knew that it would be hard for you to make that decision. She says that's why she had to sort of melt into you and let you take it deeper, that she was full of love, that she had completed her mission, but that she really wanted your help. So I feel from what she's saying is that you got it. It just was a hard message to get.
Right. Well, and it was amazing that when we took her to the animal hospital, and they have like almost a chapel where things like this happen, and she was getting a little antsy, and she wanted to be put down because we'd been holding her, and she's walking around on the floor, and she just walked by me and gave me a lick on the leg. And
yeah. Yeah. And just affirming, she just affirms, she says she wanted you to know everything was okay and that your decision was the right decision. She had been letting you know. I mean, she's a tough cookie. She shows me she was tough, so she didn't show pain,
she did.
like obviously, but she says that her body was getting very congested. There's a feeling of everything being kind of tight. And just as she found it hard to move, but she's a pusher, I mean, she shows me she just knows how to push through things. But so she let you know, she said, it's okay. This is the right thing. My life is done. I've really done what I wanted to do, and we'll always be together. And what she shows me very clearly, and what she showed me when she first came in, that I told her, hold it, wait for the session, is she showed me a big soul family, lots of different species, humans, there's a few cats, there's dogs, there seems to be sort of an endless line of dogs, and there's a couple people that are very prominent. She says they're grandparents. She doesn't say whose grandparents. She just shows me grandparents, of course, grandparents. And then she says that there's a whole family of people that she's related to and that you're related to. I mean, obviously you're in the same soul family. So she's just full of cherishing. She says, this may be a question you want to ask, but she just gave it to me. She says, I don't have any plans to reincarnate at this time. I feel like it was such a fullness. It was just a fullness of that I need to just feel it. And I love having this peace and this open space. She said, and it's tempting because I really enjoyed my life as a dog. I really enjoyed it. It's really fun being a dog, and you get to fulfill a life purpose without, she says, without inhibitions. She says humans have a lot of inhibitions. And she said, as a dog, you can just express your love and people don't stop it. They don't inhibit it. And she just felt that. So are there any questions you want to ask? She's just full of joy.
I'm so happy. So has she met up with Gertrude there? Gertrude was our French bulldog who died after back surgery. She had a heart attack 2 years ago, and they were great buddies.
Good buddies, yeah. She says yes. There's a whole lineup of beings, and again, this dog lineup seems to extend for a long time. Like it's in your life, but it's also beings she's known in her life and lifetimes. Many, many beings. Not everybody shows this. Everybody's different. The individuals show different aspects of the spiritual realm and what they're experiencing, what they're creating in their life. But she says, yeah. And Gertrude is kicking around. She says she's kicking around. She's enjoying herself. She had more difficulty in her life. She says Gertrude had a lot more problems. She had a lot more physical problems. And she's showing me that she was so relieved to shed the body. It was not the case with Lucy. She didn't have that kind of pain, but Gertrude did. Gertrude went through a series of difficulties, illnesses. And she says that when she shed the body, she just went, okay, that's it. That's it. I don't have to be slow and full of, aches and pains anymore. I'm just enjoying myself. So there's all kinds of beings. She says, I have a big family. I have a lot of friends. And she just shows me this great magnanimousness, like she is a being who knows who she is. She knows why she came here. She's been dedicated to her mission from life to life, a very aware being. Everybody's different. And I would say Lucy has an exceptional mastery of life. And that I would, because of what she's showing me now and her expansiveness, she just really knows what she's doing.
It's funny. We got her, I'd always said, we'd always talked about we love the breed of Boston Terrier, but we would never go to a breeder. And so we were looking at rescue organizations, and then we found that there was a 6-week-old puppy out in kind of the mid part of California, and it was a bad breeder who one of his kids had slammed her leg in the cage and dislocated her kneecap, and he was going to put her down because it was cheaper to do that than.
Oh my gosh.
So we drove out there and we picked her up, and we still lament that we left her brother there, and I wish we had taken, but
yeah,
hopefully she, I just wonder what she remembers from that, like those early.
Yeah, let me ask her about that. Oh, okay. She says, she's very clear on this. She says, I had to figure out a way not to be a champion. I mean, not to be, in the showing mode, and to be considered, in order to get into her right home. And she shows me she had a line on her soul family, and you were not the only candidate. But you were a main candidate and you answered the call. She said she has others that also are playful and bright and could understand, but she said you answered the call. She said that she concocted that injury in order to be shunted out. In other words, to be able to get on her soul path. She said, because they would have tried to make her into something that she wasn't. They would have tried to make her into, she wasn't interested in showing or showing off her body. She said, I wasn't into that. I was into my mission and my soul family. So she shows me, she kind of squinted and closed her eyes and allowed that to happen. She could have gotten out of it. She could have pulled herself away, but she didn't. And she said that was the avenue that got you there. She said that was the avenue. I mean, it's so interesting to me when I communicate, especially with beings who have gone on and they have this bigger perspective most of the time, not always, but they have a bigger perspective on their life plan. And she's just very clear on this. Of course, I had to get myself, injured in order to move on.
I'd love that. So how did she feel about, she started to go blind at about 7.5, 8 years old with cataracts. Yeah. And when we took her to the eye doctor and we were all set, we were going to do the surgery to have the cataracts removed. The doctor said Boston Terriers have a very strange, that it can send them into glaucoma 50% of the time, and then she would lose her eyes entirely. Right. And we were like, we chose not to do the surgery. We were in tears, because we thought having light and having a little bit was better than having pure darkness. Yeah. What does she feel about that?
She said it didn't matter to her. She said that was part of the genetics of the body. She said she always could see. She never had any problem seeing. But she's showing me seeing as a spirit and connecting through the beings around her, including you and her whole family, including the dogs. And she said she never let it bother her. Plus, you got to look at the physical thing of dogs. Their hearing and their smell is so much keener, except in the sighthounds, than their sight. So when they lose their sight, they still have other things. And I know later she lost her hearing. You mentioned that. And she says, it didn't matter to me. I operate as a spirit. I mean, this is one very aware being. She didn't let anything stop her. I mean, no. She could have had all her senses removed, and she still would have gone, I can sense as a spirit. Because she was so aware of herself as a being, she could use her extended senses keenly. So she just let them take over when she lost her physical senses. She's just quite an amazing being. I'm really happy to meet her.
She really was. I mean, like I said, the other two, they'll be like, it's raining. We don't want to go outside. Lucy, man, she would go through that doggy door and we'd see her, literally her, ears and whatever, standing in the rain going potty. She was hilarious. And she had a great sense of humor. How did she feel about us getting Agnes and Lola? They're both rescue dogs. I think she had a special relationship with Agnes, but Lola's kind of a dare I say it, a little bit of a jerk. So how does she feel?
She says it doesn't matter to her. She said everything that was part of her family was part of her. And she said it didn't matter to her. She said, when Lola didn't get it, what was happening, she would just push her around. She would just, go through her, because Lola wasn't as bright, let's say. So as Agnes. So Agnes always got it. She always got, okay, this is the program. This is what Lucy is orchestrating. Fine, we go along with it. And Lola, again, doesn't quite always connect. And so she said she would just push her. She would just push her aside. She said if she didn't get it, she would just, and then it didn't matter to her. She was happy with everything. She just says to me, it was all perfect. It was everything was exactly how I wanted it. And she said, when you got the other dogs, She said, that was for you. You got them for you. You didn't get them for me. I was self-sufficient. I was fine. So I understood that. I understood they were your dogs and they were part of my family. And so I just told them what to do and they complied.
That's, yes. Agnes is a sap in that way. And she completely, yeah, she loved Lucy, and she'd walk up and she'd have a toy and she'd just, tap Lucy. And it was really a sweet relationship.
Yeah.
A little on the iffy side. Penelope, will you let Lucy know that we miss her and we love her and that we'll see her again one day?
I'd like you to know, Suz, that she gets everything that you communicate. She feels you. She's right here. And oftentimes animals will position themselves sort of in the heart chakra, in front of the heart chakra, and really be there because they can reach you better through the heart. And so if you can just feel her there, just feel her there now, because she's right here. She's with you. She's with me. I mean, she's always there. So anything that you think to her, that you communicate to her, that you send to her, she gets it. She gets it. And sometimes animals will position themselves on their shoulder. Sometimes people will feel, whoa, I feel something on my shoulder. And they're communicating, sort of whispering in your ear. It's kind of cute, because they don't need to do that. But they do this in earthly terms, human terms, to communicate with us in ways that we can get. So generally they show the image of themselves as they were on Earth, and they do things that are earthly to show you that they're really connecting to you. So she's right there with you. I mean, you don't have to wait for her when you're going to be departing. She's here. And again, she doesn't have plans right at this time to reincarnate, but she's with you and she's with your family, and she's just so benevolent. I mean, you're just this incredible energy over your whole family. So just feel it. I mean, your dogs feel it. They feel her. So
I would imagine they do.
Yeah.
They're laying down here on the floor snoring. Anyway, Penelope, I am grateful that you have connected with Lucy. I'm going to connect with Lucy more,
Yes.
knowing that so here's a quick question. If she does reincarnate, can we still have her present somewhat?
Yes. When you're in a soul family, when you're connected with love, when you love somebody deeply, anybody that you have this deep kind of love for, you generally travel with each other in a soul group. You have a similar mission. And so it really doesn't matter. I find, like, even when they've reincarnated, they still communicate with you. As soon as you think of them, they're there. They're there for you. And so, because beings are infinite, so it doesn't restrict them. And of course, being with an animal body, you have less inhibitions, you have less veils, less clouding of who you are than humans do. So they don't forget. And they may go off sometimes, I mean, if they have a new life, they may feel a little bit more remote, but as soon as you call them and you want to communicate, the love takes them there. I mean, it's always there. I mean, I have so many friends who have gone on in all sorts of forms, all species. And, so all I do is think of them, boop, they're there. Or I just put on this necklace this morning, and a friend made this for me, and she has gone on. And I said, I'm wearing your necklace again. And she said, oh, it looks really good on you. I'm so happy I made it for you. So you have these little conversations. And the same with Lucy, just you can have conversations with her anytime that you want. I mean, Pepito and I are talking a stream, and sometimes it's sad too, because we both miss each other. It's just not one way, but everybody's different, and I do want to reassure you that everything in Lucy's life was just exactly how she loved it.
Wonderful. I'm glad. It was an honor to be her people.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. And we grow so much together. When you're with beings like that, you're in the soul family, she grows from being with you and your love and your understanding, which she says is very, very keen. Your understanding is really good of her and your communication with her. And she grows because of the love. So we grow together. And the more we recognize how we're growing together, the more it expands, the deeper it gets. And it gets out of these human analytical considerations about the limitations of beings and, oh, she's a dog or I'm a human and blah, blah, blah. We're spirits and we're infinite. And so we can stretch it. When we understand that, we can stretch our wings a little bit. And learn from these beings that have gone on. I mean, it's again, you said it's a privilege, and I understand that totally. Just an honor to be with them, and how much they give to your life. But look at it the other way: how much you gave to her. It's both ways. And she totally recognizes that. She totally recognizes the deliciousness of the love and the environment that she could, create her life on, just create this beautiful life. So
perfect. She loved to lay in the sun. And that was one of the greatest. We have always provided her with sun patches and beds and whatever. And so I hope she's enjoying all the sunshine right now. So
yes, definitely.
Penelope, thank you so much. That was heart enriching, and I completely appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Suz.